Sia Stovall, and of course, you are tuning in to season 7 of WCEG Issues and Answers. We are excited as always for every episode. Our new WCEG network, WCEGTalkRadio.com. We're the worldwide community empowerment group. We're where we speak life into the community. The topics and opinions that you will be hearing on today are those of the show host, which is myself, and the guest, and not of WCEG Network. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Instagram at WCEG underscore talk underscore radio at WCEG Network. Thank you for your continued support, and tell a friend to join us. Of course, today, this morning we kicked off our Facebook Live at the Georgia State Capitol. But before we move on, we definitely want to pause and continue to pray for peace for this world. There are a lot of things that are going on across the world, not just here in the United States. And so we definitely want to ask God's mercy on the people and praying for peace. And because like I said the last show, whenever there is war, there are casualties and disruptions. And then there are certain things that are happening because of the pandemic that are still happening. So we have not forgotten about the pandemic. So we're asking for God's mercy and peace, and for him to give our leaders wisdom so they would know what to do and when to do it. So this morning at a little bit after 10, but this morning we kicked off our celebration of HR, which is House Resolution 279, Single Parents Day in the state of Georgia. Yay! So for all you single parents out there, give your hands up. And whether you're male or female, it's not discrimination. There are some males who are single parents. And so we want to tell them, whoop, whoop, to them as well. So this House resolution was signed into law in May of 2018. And it was signed into law by Governor Nathan Deal. And, we're going to talk a little bit about the whole process. We talked about it this morning, but we're going to talk about it again on this whole process about how a bill becomes a law. And my guests on today are some special people who took part in the process of passing this bill and for continuing the legacy on. Because once a bill is passed, you can forget about it. But then because this is very dear to my heart, every bill I pass is always dear to my heart. This one, we want to make sure that we continue to have awards, events, and recognition. So we didn't do anything last year because of the pandemic. When I say we're talking about the National Leadership Group and Georgia Coalition for Single Parents, and a lot of outstanding people that you will hear their names called on the show today. Because I couldn't do it by myself. It was just an idea that was brought to me by Ms. Tom Macbeth and Beverly Brewster about, hey, there's a National Single Parents Day. Why we don't have a day designated here in the state of Georgia? I said, oh, you know what? That's a good idea. I said, but I got to figure out how we're going to get that passed. It's not controversial. So we should be able to get it passed where it wasn't that easy. It took a lot of time and a lot of maneuvering, a lot of compromise to get the bill passed. So today, I just want to also kind of let you all know at 6:30, we will have a panel discussion via Zoom on the impact of single parenting during and after COVID-19. We'll hear from some experts on coping mechanisms for stress on single parents who are facing unforeseen mental, physical, and financial situations. Yeah, a lot is going on. We know just the average person is definitely suffering from it. But when you think about single parents, how much more our single parents are actually going through a lot because of COVID. So we want to make sure that we have some things for them to be able to assist them on and bring on the experts. I don't know everything. I just can tell you my personal experience. And some of the guests will be able to tell you their personal experience. but we wanted to make sure that we had experts on to be able to help our single parents through it. All right, so we have right now, I have guests that'll be coming in to join us as we're talking. But right now we have Miss Tom Macbeth, who is here. And Tom, will you please say hello and introduce yourself to the audience?
Thank you so much, Valencia. And as she said, my name is Tom Macbeth, and I joined this team back in 16, 15. It's been a long time coming, and we are so thankful to have it actually passed in 2018. I am a part of Real Parents Incorporated, which is my nonprofit, and it was a pleasure working with Valencia and Beverly to make sure that this bill gets passed. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, thank you for coming on. And you know, this definitely was an act of faith
Yes.
with this particular bill. And I also have as a guest Dr. Lawanda Falami. And so, Dr. Falami, will you take time to introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, greeting everyone. Yes, I am Dr. Lawanda Falami. I'm a part of the community throughout the metro, the region, and the Crescent. Congratulations to all those who's going to be receiving this great award today. And I'm so honored to be a part of this today. Thank you.
Okay. You were a little fuzzy with talking, but I can hear you.
Okay, well, everybody, can you hear me now?
Yeah, this sounds better.
Okay, first, greeting again, everybody. I'm Dr. Lawanda Falami. I advocate throughout the region and the Crescent. And I am so honored and happy to be a part of this single parents in such a time like this. This is such a great encouragement for parents that are going through the rest and ups and downs with these trying times. I know our God will see us through this. I just want to congratulate everybody that participate and share their good times as well as their bad times. So congratulations again.
All right. Yes. Yes, it's still a little bit unstable, but we'll come back around to you. We heard part of it. Yeah, the message was a little bit unstable, but thank you, Dr. Falami, for joining us for today. And we're going to hear from her shortly because these guests that we have on have played a major role in this bill continuing, because you can pass a bill and then it just sits on the side, but it's important for us because of so many needs of single parents and resources that are needed, that we want to keep this bill alive and active, and because of the reasoning behind the bill. So just to let you all know a little bit about House Resolution 279. So it was introduced, I was the author of that bill, and we had additional co-signers that were on the bill. It was bipartisan. We had Democrat, and we also had Republican as a signer on the bill, because it has nothing to do with a party. It's about the people. So you have all types of people that are single parents. And it wasn't about trying to promote single parents or encouraging people to be single parents. It didn't have anything to do with that. It was about some things. Sometimes you find yourself in situations that you didn't think about, but you become a single parent. And that could be the death of a spouse or a partner. It could be for whatever reason you are separated from each other. It could be a grandparent who has raised their children, but for some reason they're now having to take over custody of raising their grandchildren, and so they become single parents sometimes. So it's all kind of things that happen that are out of our control, but they result us into being single parents. So once you're in that situation, you have to have the resources available, because you want to be able to raise the best child that's going to be a productive citizen in the world, that's going to be able to give back and see what help is needed. And that can't happen unless you're nurturing those children when they're younger and smaller. So even though I'm a mother of two, mine are adults, And earlier on the show, on the Facebook Live we had at the Capitol, we had Angel Massey, who was a single parent. Her children are adults, Chris and Kyle Massey, who are Disney childhood stars and adult stars as well. And she talked about once they turn 18, it seems like you really now have to really be a parent, once they become adults. So you kind of put everything in them when they were younger, and now you actually going to see what you taught them and what you instilled in them. Did they keep it once they became adults? So I did want to read off the resolution for the Legacy Builders Award. And so on that, we have people that nominated single parents, male or female, who currently have children. So these awards are not for ones like myself or Miss Tom or Dr. Falami, whose children have gotten to full age, as a matter of fact. So this award was not for us. It was for those who are currently raising children that are in their custody, that they're raising. And so, and then we also added to it this year, I added the Overcomers Founders Award. And so there are, some situations where all single parents to me at some point is overcoming something. But there are others that really, really went out the way to really make sure that they are, I consider, overcomers. So we have that special category where we'll be awarding them as well. So I'm gonna talk about single parents must invest in measurable amounts of time, energy, and devotion when raising their children in order to provide them with the love, support, and guidance required to become responsible, productive, and successful adults. The responsibility of raising children in today's society is particularly difficult when it falls on the shoulders of a single parent. And it is abundantly fitting, and this is what the resolution said, that the outstanding accomplishments of remarkable and distinguished individuals be appropriately recognized. And so each one of our finalists will receive a resolution, House resolution, with their names on it. And then our honorees will receive certificates. So everyone receives something. And these are people that were nominated all over the state of Georgia. And so a little later on in the show, we are going to say those names of those honorees and finalists. And then at 6:30 for the town hall, we're going to say their names again. So this day on March the 21st, they're going to have their names repeated at least 3 times today to show how appreciative we are of them being a single parent. And remember, next year, we'll be opening up the nominations again. So y'all be on the lookout when you see the post of nominating a single parent. And you can nominate your own self if you think somebody don't want to nominate you. Nominate yourself, and it's okay. So now we're going to kind of go into the history of HR 279. And with HR 279, Beverly and Miss Beverly and Miss Tom, they came to me and asked me about introducing the bill. And I think we met down in Riverdale, and then we met some other couple of places trying to get what is the word that we want in the bill. And so with the bill, as a legislator, most legislators are not as smart as y'all think that they are, or I was at that time. It's legislative council who actually puts the word and how it needs to be structured, because they have to check to make sure that is not duplicated anywhere else already in state law, and it's not going to be contradictory of existing state law. So they do that research there, and they work for the House and the Senate members to be able to draft legislation. So once we came up with the words, we turned it in to legislative council, and then they gave me back a draft bill saying, okay, this is the language, look over it. It was good. Then the real hard part started, because then you have to find legislators who will be willing to put their name on your bill. And sometimes that can be good, and sometimes it can be very bad, because it can cause your bill to either not be heard in a committee, or even if it's heard in the committee and passed, something can happen and it doesn't make it out of rules committee, and then something else can happen and it doesn't even make it to the chamber floor. So we did experience that over in the Senate, where the bill hung up. It's supposed to be passed in that 1 year, but it actually took us 2 years to pass the bill. And so once we got the draft, I started talking with some of my legislative colleagues who I thought would be good to be able to put on the bill. And so we got them, their names placed on the bill. And then we had to go to before the committee. It's a committee that's set up. It was a special committee. We had to present the bill. They agreed. They passed it out of the special committee. And then it went to the rules committee. Now, for those who don't understand how the process works at the Georgia General Assembly, there are usually about 1,700 bills that are in resolutions and all that that's introduced during one 40-day session. So the legislators are in session 40 days. And so you have to work real fast. Everything goes fast. And so with that, only 200 and about 35, 40 maybe make it to the governor's desk for signing. So it's a slim chance your bill may not make it to the end. And so we were able to work it out that on the House side, we got everybody in agreement with the bill. It was passed unanimous. It went over to the Senate side, and we had to have a senator. Well, I introduced it in the committee. So as a legislator representative, I could do that. But when it came down to it getting to the Senate floor and being introduced to the Senate members, it had to be a senator to do that part. So we were thankful that Senator Elena Parent agreed to present the bill, and it was passed. But let me back up. So after it left the chamber of the House, we were excited. We said, okay, it has wheels, it's running. This bill is running. Got over to the Senate, and then I was asked to add what we call tag another part of somebody else's bill onto the bill that we had. Well, it was simple to me. It was a Cancer Child Awareness Day in the state of Georgia, recognized September the 21st. I think that was the date. I said, okay. They said, you do that, then we'll help you process, get your bill through. I said, okay. Well, I did not know that the person who wanted to introduce that bill did not have the favor or was not well liked all the way around on the Senate side. So that caused the bill, our bill, the bill to end up being paused for a whole session. So we had to work over the summer, so session closed out. And then we had to work over the whole summer in order to be able to talk to leadership over there and talk to other senators. And that's where the advocacy part comes in. So never think that the legislators do all the work themselves, because they don't. We have to have advocates and those who believe in the process of the bill to be able to talk to their elected officials. And so because this is statewide, we have people calling from all over the state to call their legislator, their senator, asking them to please ask for the bill and to vote yes for the bill. And so thank God, next session came in, we worked over the summer. We even worked when session got started. And thank God that after that, the bill did make it out of Rules Committee, and it did make it to the chambers, Senate chamber floor, and it was passed unanimous. It might have been, I don't think nobody voted against it. I can't remember, but it might have been, but that might have had something to do with something else, and they had nothing to do with the bill. Y'all know what I just told you earlier. And so we were so excited when that bill passed. And then that was in 2018. Then in May of 2018, Governor Deal signed the bill into law. So once a bill is signed into law, it becomes an act. And then it has a number that's assigned to it. So for those of you all who like to Google, you can Google HR 279, and you can put Georgia, and you can put 2018 in there. Or you can put HR 279 Single Parent Day. And it will come up, and you get a chance to read the entire resolution that was passed and signed into law. So yes, it is a bill, and it is officially a day in the state of Georgia. Every year, March the 21st is Single Parents Day in the state of Georgia. Only way that would change is if there's another bill introduced that removes March the 21st as Single Parent Day in the state of Georgia. So we're excited. So Tom, I want to ask you a couple of questions about your experience with going through the process of the legislation process, and then even if you want to share your personal story about why you're so passionate about single parents, helping single parents.
Thank you, Valencia. Well, first of all, I am a single parent and have experience raising a son. I thank God for that. And the one thing that we need to mention is that it was a lot of work to get our single parents on board as well with this process. Um, Beverly had and Valencia, both of you had such a vision to have events and walks and all kinds of activities to get single parents involved. And that helped a lot to support the bill. We had to have the support from other single parents who wanted to get involved. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it because all the different events that you had with your events that were at the park and at different locations, we always had booths set up for single parents to register to be a part of getting that bill passed. And that was really wonderful. There is a huge population of single parents in the state of Georgia. And one of the things that I know that I enjoy most is getting the message to other counties, to let other counties know that of all the Georgia counties out here, there's a single parent population that we need to get the message to. And then also getting the sponsors involved. That was exciting as well to be able to contact. And I know now, after all these years of really being involved with the single parent bill, that we have some sponsors, but we're always looking for additional sponsors to be involved. And parents were able to sign up, which also, I think, Beverly, and on the website, I think there's also, there was voter registration involved with it as well. So it's not just about the single parent, but organizing the coalition and the Georgia Single Parent Coalition and making sure that the single parents knew all the services and things that were available for them. So I like the working with the actual single parents to help them see that this is something for them that they can get involved with. There's activities out there, all the different things that they can get involved with voting and making sure they're looking at that education process. And so it's just a wonderful project and I'm thankful to be a part of it. Beverly has such a vision for it and it's exciting. I like being able to see if there's grants and opportunities out there for us because there is such a need for this project to be funded. And we just want to make sure that we're doing everything in our power to bring this issue to the forefront. And so it's been wonderful, Valencia.
Thank you. And you know, it's great to have have dedicated volunteers that believe in the cause and we'll continue on with the cause while we're trying to find resources. But it's because we're passionate about it and we really want to see a difference that's made. We want to be able to provide opportunities that were not afforded to us when we were single parents and making sure that those who are now raising their children have those access. And one of our big goals was to have a 1-800 number that single parents can call in, just like you do with 211 with United Way, but it'd be specific for single parents to be able to call in. So we're definitely in talk with a few of with one of the departments with the state of Georgia to kind of see how we could be able to incorporate that, because there's just certain questions that single parents need to ask that are not relevant to other parents that are two-parent households. Nothing against them, we're glad, but we want to make sure that single parents, when it comes to educating their children, it comes to health care, it comes to jobs that are needed, training, just mentally, financially, all of those things we want to make sure that the single parents have what they need for that. Yeah, so now we have Miss Beverly Brewster has joined us. Hey, Beverly. And we're going to ask her, she's the other person that came to me asking about HR 279. It was HR 279 then, but it is now. So Beverly, will you introduce yourself and tell us what your experience was like with dealing with the whole process of getting the bill passed, and anything else that you want to say.
Okay, thank you, Representative Stovall, for the opportunity. My name is Beverly Brewster, and I am the CEO and founder of the National Leadership Group. Well, I was searching on the internet and back in 2016, and I found out that back in 1984 that President Ronald Reagan had made March the 21st Single Parent Day. So I started investigating and finding out more about it, and I found out that the state of Colorado was the only state that recognized it as a holiday. And so definite, I wanted Georgia, my state of Georgia, to be the second one. So what I did, I got in touch with Tom Macbeth, and then she got in touch with then Representative Stovall. And so we put our heads together, what need to be done. So she said it need to be written up. So I went and researched it and found out information, the statistics here in Georgia about single parents. And I wrote it up and I put it all together and I submitted to then Representative Stovall. And so I think she had to pass it on to the legislature or whatever. Now, like she said, it took a couple of years, but we kept going because we believed in it. We know that single parents need to be recognized, that single parents are making strides and doing great things out here in the community, although they're raising kids on their own, you know? So we're so excited about this event. And also as a result of Single Parent Day, we have our Legacy Builders Recognition and Awards Banquet, where we recognize single parents. You have to nominate them. We open up the time for you to nominate single parent, which is closed now. And then we have a nominating committee that go through them. And then we have a banquet where we award them. So our next event will be August the 6th at Port of Sanford Performing Arts Center. But right now, today, we just want to thank our single parent. We want to thank the nominators for nominating those people as well. And like I said, the best is yet to come. It was a process. I'm a single too, my kids are grown.
You know, sometimes with technology, you just have to work with it. So we know she'll be back. When she comes back, we'll let her finish up. And so, like she said, we have the Legacy Builders Award where we recognize our honorees and finalists with a certificate and even with a resolution. And so at this time, Dr. Falama, would you like to have anything else to say about advice with single parents or anything else that you would like to say? Okay, we'll wait till Dr. Falama.
Sorry about that modern technology, okay?
Okay, go ahead. And we'll come back to Dr. Falama when she's ready. But go ahead, Beverly, and I'll finish.
That's mostly all I wanted to say. Thankful to Representative Stovall and Tom Macbeth and the National Leadership Group, the people that work along with me, like the Vice President, Lenora Daniel, and some of the others, to help us to do what we love to do in helping single parents. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. And even today we had like I said, this morning we had you could go back on my Facebook page at ValenciaStovall.9 with Facebook, and you could actually, you can go to Angel Master, she was down there. You could go to her page to watch the video, the live streaming that we did this morning, talking about, we were actually at the state capitol where it all took place. I'm talking about it, and everybody kind of gave their own spiel about single parents and what's needed for single parents as well. Okay, Dr. LaWanda, would you like to speak now? I see you're back with us.
I do apologize, but I'm out here by the airport. So nevertheless, I just would like to say, it's just a pleasure being able to work with such a phenomenal group of women who has the passionate about single parents. I end up as well becoming a single parents with a kind of bittersweet relationship, but we was able to co-parents and see our child through his youth life to become a productive young man, which he is today. I'm just so honored to actually being able to read some of the um, recipients' uh, comments about their lifestyle. I cried many nights and I shared it with my colleagues, Beverly and Ladoria, how touching this was becoming. And it was just an exciting time until we collaborate about choosing these candidates. And we kind of had a little hiccup. We wanted most of them all to be awarded in their own, own way. But it's so special that we are continue to do this. And I heard Ms. Macbeth said that we do need fundraising and we can network to see what we can do, especially me on my end, what can I do to assist in that department. We got a lot of stakeholders that not aware about this organization that we can bring it to their attention and see if we can get them to partner up. So I'm going to say thank you right there. I just want to share that experience of just being able to read what those recipients had written about themselves. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I was
okay.
Yeah, I was multitasking. I was listening to you
Same here.
and posting on the Facebook page, the website for anyone who's interested in being a vendor, or if you would like to also be a sponsor. So we have sponsorship availability, and we have vendors if you like to be a vendor at the event. And this is what helps us to be able to cover the cost, that we can be able to invite the finalists and honorees to come with no cost to them. So we want them to, not only receive the award, but actually be able to come without having to pay any money to be able to come into the event. So we think that that's important. And so we've done it. We've had the event. Our first year, what year was the first year we had the legacy event in Morrow? 27, y'all muted. I was trying to read.
2014, 15?
1920, we had the event at South Lake.
When was it?
2019.
Okay, 2019. So a year after we passed, after the bill was signed into law, we went into action, and we invited single parents down to the state capitol. We took pictures. We even had workshops for them, and we planned the same thing in 2019, but the pandemic hit and we couldn't do it. But we still did a virtual awards event, and so we already invited those virtual. We will be inviting those virtual recipients to our August the 6th event so they can have an in-person congratulations as well. And so, we do, it's a lot that needs to be done, that is done. And we just appreciate everyone who's worked representing the Schofield, State Representative Kim Schofield. We appreciate her for picking up the mantle once I left the Georgia legislature body. And so she's been the one that's making sure that we get our resolution. She helped with the setup today for us to be able to do the Facebook Live. And her also being a single parent, her child is an adult now. But so she understands all of us who have compassion about making sure that single parents have the resources that they need. And so everyone has a story who was connected to us. Either they were single parents, or they had a parent who was a single parent, or they just know, everybody knows a single parent. If they don't, most everybody, I would say, that knows a single parent and have seen and watched their struggles that they actually are going through. And we want to thank DeKalb Commissioner Larry Johnson, who's been a great supporter of the organization and what we've been doing with the awards event as well. So we make sure, and then Commissioner Robin Creedon with the Health and Human Services. She was our speaker the first year, and she came back again when we had our virtual awards event in 2019. 2019. and she was our speaker again. And so being able to work with the different departments, different organizations, we know that we are on our way. And ultimately, we want to be able to have all of this information about Think a Single Parent Day, across the whole state of Georgia. We want restaurants to be able to give out discounts for those coming in. We want to have a little card we're able to mail to. If you're a single parent, get your single parent card, just like you have an AARP card or a AAA card. Hopefully AARP and AAA will be some sponsors since we mentioned their name. You all can be a sponsor for the event coming up. But we want them to be able to have a card where they're able to go, just like we do Mother's Day and Father's Day. We have a Single Parents Day. So if anyone who's out there listening, you're good with marketing and you want to be able to help what we're trying to do, you reach out to us with Beverly or myself. You can inbox me on Facebook. You can inbox Beverly, or you can send an email. Beverly, what's the email for them to send it to?
B.A. Brewster. That's BABREWSTER at att.net. B.A. Brewster at att.net.
Okay. And then if you go on the website, I put the website into the to the comment, but it's https://nationallg.org. And that's where you can be able to get other information about being a sponsor or a vendor for the event. And so I want to make some general announcements as we get ready to close out. We have a few more minutes left with the show. And again, we thank Ms. Tomette Bass, we thank Ms. Beverly Brewster and Dr. LaWanda Falama. Y'all can still hang out with us, for all of the work that they are doing for single parents and about single parents. I want to go ahead and call out all the awardees and finalists before I go into my announcements. So we have 31 people that we will be recognizing on August the 6th, Saturday, August the 6th. And we will be at the Porter Sanford Performing Arts Center in Decatur. And there is a cost for a ticket. And so we gave you the information. You can reach out to us. contact@ghoststovall.com is my email address. And BABrewster@att.net is Beverly's. If you would like to purchase a ticket, or like I said, you want to be a sponsor, you're welcome to be a sponsor because we need sponsorships. All right. So our 2022 Georgia Parent Single finalists and honorees are, and they're not in no particular order. And we do have some that are the finalists. So I will pause to make sure I recognize the finalists. Okay, we have Siobhan Fleming of Hampton. We have Arnetta Brown, Lithonia. Kimberly Howard, Lithia Springs. Deandra Dowse, Loganville. Latifah Borkins, Riverdale. Monica Bates, Covington. Sabrina Stewart, Riverdale. Donisha Jackson, Atlanta. Sierra Batts, we're in Douglasville. Marshikia Raven, Jonesboro. Tasha Jackson, Stockbridge. Monica Delancey, Austell, and Monica is also a candidate that's running for state representative out in Cobb County. So I want to give her a shout out on that. Brandon Smith, Albany, Georgia, down in Daugherty County. And Janelle Gibson, Atlanta. So Janelle actually joined us today. She was one of the ones giving her own personal testimony about being a single parent. And she's over there with Effect Fitness. So if you all go and visit Effect Fitness on Metropolitan Atlanta, ask for Janelle. And so those were our honorees. The finalists are Leroy Trey Hutchins, who's also a school board member in Cobb County. He's representing Austell. He's in Austell. Joanna Patterson, Jonesboro. Don Laster, Albany, way down in Daugherty County. Rashida Frazier, Forest Park. Minnie Marie Andrews, Augusta, out in Richmond County. Lisa Moore, Albany. Wardell Richardson, Atlanta. Our own Wardell, he also hosts a WCEG radio, I think it's Hollywood of the South. It's the name of his show. So you can definitely look him up and tune in. to his show here on WCEG. So congratulations, Wardell. And you know, we like it with the men because those were the two men, Leroy and Wardell. So we don't want everybody to think it's all about the women because it's not. But we have some outstanding single fathers who are stepping up to the plate, and we have to make sure we recognize them, pat them on the back, and cheer them on as well. So next we have Angie Cook from Mableton, Silver Hightower, Atlanta, Deja Henry, Stockbridge, Bianca Cuckoo, Morrow, Terica Matthews in Morrow, Mia McCamey, Atlanta, Nakia Gilbert, Atlanta, Levon Jones, Austell. And then this year, I mentioned earlier that we have, I have an Overcomers Founders Award that I recognized and identified 2 single parents that are doing the Overcomers Award that deserve the Overcomers Award. We all as single parents and you as single parents are overcomers, but there are some others that really had so many challenges that I want to recognize these 2 for this year. And one is Ashley Manning, who's a parent of 3 boys in Ellenwood. Make sure that I had that right, her city. Yes, in Ellenwood. So I know Ashley from Little Ones, that's where I first met her at, and her son, and she has a child that attends 7 Pillars Career Academy. And when I first, y'all always hear me talk about 7 Pillars. Every time I have a show, I make an announcement about 7 Pillars. And so the first year that they were open, we did Fall Festival. So I asked all the kids who wanted to volunteer to come, and I said, parents, you could come too. And I also, that's where I met, I think that's where I first met Ashley Manning. But she also has a child at Little Ones as well. And so she was there at we did the planning for 10 weeks, once a week for 10 weeks. And she came every day of those weeks that we were planning and was dedicated and everything. And so it's so much more I could say about Ashley Manning, but she's a veteran. And I just appreciate what she's doing with her kids. And then we have Christina again. Christina is someone I met when I had my Educate Georgia Summit. We was doing, it was our 3rd year that we did it. And I met her, she came, actually won an award. She and another person that came with her for outstanding idea about reimagining education. And so, and then from there, we talked and kept talking. And then she ended up opening up a charter school in Clayton County, which is 7 Pillars Career Academy. And so the pressure of opening up a school and maintaining it, being the head of schools, and then raising 2 small kids is not an easy feat. And so she definitely deserves the Overcomers Award for her. And so those are the ones, the 31 people that we will be honoring on August the 6th, that Saturday, in Decatur, for the Legacy Builders Award. So we're going to give them a round of applause right now. And guess what? We're going to say their names again at 6:30 for our town hall meeting. That's how excited we are that every chance we can get, we want to recognize these single parents and encourage you all that are listening to make sure you nominate single parents. You can see they're coming from all over the state. And even in previous years, we've had someone even from North Georgia to be nominated for the Single Parents Award. And so we don't discriminate. It doesn't matter. If you're a single parent, we want you. And we want you to join what we're doing so that we can make it better and make this world better when we're able to raise good citizens, children that are good citizens, they can be able to give back. So we're excited about March the 21st, y'all, is what? Single Parents Day in the state of Georgia. And so as I begin to close out my announcements, on April the 30th, we will be participating in the Yoruba Day Culture Celebration. This will be the 3rd year that we'll be celebrating. In the Yoruba culture, it's African. We want to recognize. Okay. And so the Yoruba Day, Yoruba culture tribe is one of the largest tribes in Africa. And so, and they are mixed with a vast when it comes down to culture. And so we'll be celebrating them. We actually will have 2 kings, 2 actual kings in Africa that'll be participating live, and we'll be doing that through Status Network, which is one that the local TV, well, I call him local TV provider because he just as good as any of the major TV providers. So, and that is Jack Trey over at Status Network. So we'll be with him again. We will actually hear music, see art, and some historical sites. There's a tree called the Ikuro tree. I think I'm pronouncing it right. And I got a chance to see it live, and it's a very special tree that those in that particular village or town, whenever there's a problem, they actually go to that tree for prayer and for to be able to get what the answer is to their problem and to get it resolved. And so the whole ceremony is just amazing. You know, for someone that's born here in America, never have traveled Africa yet, but that's on my list for this year to go. And I'm just amazed that all of that culture that, you know, that's lost for us here in America that we don't get a chance to see. So I'm just excited about the opportunity, and that's going to be on April the 30th on a Saturday. So you all hear me announcing it a lot more as the time comes up. So as I get ready to close out, last meeting, or last, it's a meeting, you might as well say, because that's what I consider it. But our last show, I was telling y'all I was toiling between whether I was going to run for office or not. So I did decide, or we decided as a Go Stovall team, and it's a mission for me. I'm sitting on a mission, and it's for Congressional District 5. I'll be running as a Democrat for Congressional District 5. And for those who are not sure what district that is, it is the old late John Lewis's seat that he held for many years. And so right now we have a deficit in Congress when it comes to leadership in Georgia. And we need someone that's bold, who's going to be committed, and that's going to find solutions to these problems or issues that we have, and who's not afraid. And so I offer myself up as that candidate for Congressional District 5. You all know the work that I've done. Those who've been following me over the years, I have 8 years as a legislator, 30 years as a small business owner, and 30 years as community advocate. And my platform is real simple. It's the buck, the book, and the ballot. And I first heard those words from the late Mayor Maynard Jackson, who was mayor of the city of Atlanta, the first African-American mayor of a southern city. And when I heard it, when my dad, who was his community coordinator or liaison, and my sisters and I would follow my dad around, and we got a chance to meet him in person several times. And so I wanted to use that as him being a legacy for the city of Atlanta when it came to leadership and how he looked out for the people. He was a people's person. He was, no matter where you saw Mayor Maynard Jackson at, he would stop and speak, and he was never too high mighty, even though he was a mayor, to look down on small people. And so I wanted to build my campaign around that type of legacy. And the book is dealing with economic rejuvenation. The book deals with reimagining education, and the ballot is voter education. So there are plenty of ways for you to register. But when it comes down to empathy, which means that the people are not coming out to vote because they don't understand what's expected of elected officials in order to be able to hold them accountable. When we're talking about all these issues, healthcare, of course, access is an issue. When it comes down to workforce shortages with doctors and nurses, we have to come up with a solution with that. And also when it comes down to senior citizens, our veterans, crime, justice system, all of those are issues that fall up under that book. And when you talk about education, we have to reimagine. There's a crisis. We have a loss of learning with our students that are in school now. And we have to be able to come together. All the education leaders and those who are interested in the future of our kids have to come together in order for us to come up with a solution. It does not matter whether that's public, whether it's private, because that child is going to turn 18. When that child turns 18 and does not have a solid foundation in education, we are all going to pay for it in the criminal system or in other ways as well. So it's our responsibility as adults and in this society in the state of Georgia to ensure that every child has access to equitable education that's going to be made available to them so that we can have apprenticeship programs. That's what's needed. We need to be able to also have it where parents are able to get more involved. We know that during the crisis of the pandemic, parents really found out what was really going on with their child and also in schools. And so we have to work together in order to build up our state of Georgia. And that's why I'm offering myself as Congressional District 5 candidate. Go to my website, gostovall.com. Make a donation. We're running a grassroots campaign, y'all. We up, a lot of people say that's an uphill battle. But I say it again, like I posted on my Facebook page, was that, is there anything too hard for God? And the answer is no, there's nothing too hard for him. So we want to thank you all for joining us this afternoon. And make sure that you're tuning back in for the Zoom. You have to register for that. It's free registration. I think I gave the website. So go back to https:// national.lg.org, and you can register for the event. And so once you register for the event, then you'll be able to come on and hear the town hall that we're talking about. So Dr. LaWanda, you want to have something, closing remarks? Go ahead.
Well, I just want to thank everybody for finding the heart and the passion for something that is so valuable to each of us as Black women. A lot of time, we come from broken homes and single parents, and I just thank God for lifting us up and giving us the courage and giving us the wisdom to want to share our experience and help them along the way with theirs. So thank you, ladies, so much for all you are doing and what you are about to do. God bless you.
Thank you so very much for what you're doing, Dr. Fulami. Is a phenomenal woman. When I did my first award, Women's Award in Leadership, actually Dr. Fulami was my first award recipient for that leadership award. It was, at that time, it was a Yellow Rose Award. Then later it was changed to the Nikki T. Randall Women's Leadership Award. And even now, she doesn't have any children that could be that's old enough to be on the team. Her grandchildren not old enough to be on the team, but she's coaching. She coached the volleyball team, then she went right into the basketball team, and they actually went to the finals. And so now she's back into volleyball again. So, as women, and as single parents, as fathers, we know that there are things that need to be done. And sometimes we have to step in to be able to help other people's children. So as we are helping other people's children, then God is looking out for our children. And that's another thing that I learned even from my dad, Lovett Stovall, when he was working as a community liaison for Mayor Maynard Jackson. And us going around the different communities, we learned all over Atlanta. And so, you mimic who you see with your behavior. And so I thank my dad and my mom, who's not here with us, but in spirit, for what they have instilled in us to be able to give back and be servant leaders, because that's what it's going to take. And as we close out, Congressional District 5 has been redistricted. And so it takes in all of Atlanta, all of it ATL, it takes in all of East Point and Hateville, a portion of College Park, a portion of Sandy Springs and North Fulton, the Emory area, North Druid Hills area, comes down to Southwest DeKalb, a portion of Southwest DeKalb, and then comes back into Conley. So if you know anyone that's in that area, definitely tell them about Stovall, that's all. And so that we can win and go to Washington, D.C. We want to see national single parents and parents being able to not converge. I might want to hold off on that word, but we want to see everybody in Washington, D.C. At the state capitol there in Washington, D.C. Because the other thing happened with the conversion. So we don't want to say conversion. We want to see single parents being able to come and be recognized on a national level for what they're doing and all the other issues and things that we're facing. So we're about to close out, as you know, making sure that you are staying involved, staying connected. Make sure you share this video, tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell someone that just may need to know about what we're doing. Make sure you're tuning in on WCEG. There are a lot of other of my co-hosts who do a fantastic job Thank you, Penny, for your vision of WCEG network and what all you do. I think we'll get new people. So if y'all are interested in hosting your own show, definitely reach back out to WCEG or, send her a message. Because I think as long as there are hours in the day, I think we can be able to have you on a talk radio show like WCEG. And so I want to make sure that I got everything. I did. So if you have any show ideas that are coming up, make sure you send me an email, contact@ghostovall.com. And remember, the purpose of this show is to educate you on those things you might not think about unless you're in a situation to be concerned. I didn't do my say what segment this time, but I will pick it back up at the next show, my say what, because I know everybody has some say whats, and I've seen some say whats coming up to this show. But thank you again. You all enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe. And until then, we will be back again. Our next show will be April the 4th, will be our next show. All right. Thank you at 4 o'clock.